Wow, that's awesome. Thanks, Jules. I just posted in chat there that really does, for me, the music there, the tune, really follows the mantra from that last from Phyllis Sinclair. And unfortunately, because all those copyright infringements that, even though we did have permission, YouTube, thank you, has whacked us. And so we do say goodbye to Phyllis Sinclair to the opening here, but never forgotten, and the appreciation is certainly never forgotten. I'd invite you to go check her out. She's on YouTube and find her on the internet everywhere. And talking about music, it's that beat inside, just a little out of step for some of us. Like for me, I've been teased about my dancing, and some of y'all see my video up there that a friend of mine back in Arkansas posted. I can't help but laugh at myself. So, let's see here. Yeah, I've been messing with the banjo here and really liking that. I'm not going to subject y'all to any of it tonight. So, but for me, I'm finding my own tempo, and this is the same in life. Finding my own step, that own beat, and you've heard that marching to the beat of a different drum. Well, that's what we're doing right here on UCY.tv. So many great hosts, a lively conversation in chat. Now, if you're not in chat, if you're listening downstream, I invite you to come back, UCY.tv, do your internet search and find us there and check out an awesome array of shows and hosts here. Fantastic place to be. I so appreciate being here and being able to share my voice and the voice of others. And mostly Jules, you rock. Thanks so much. You've put a lot into this, and it's growing. Oh man, I was listening to you this morning, and we got a lot of really, really awesome stuff coming up. Fantastic place to be a part of, UCY.tv, and look, we're connecting voices worldwide. We really are, and that's my premise. I have my show description that I ask the hard questions. I'd like to put an address there and say some of the hard questions. And what I don't ask personally, there's a lot of other people are asking and discussing here. So I'm like it's like, why am I on air? Do I think I'm clever? Am I just bloviating? And I wrote that down to share that. I thought that was funny, bloviating. So what I share is for you to decide. And I think that we all have to be forced to the point of one's own self in concluding that all's not right. Okay? And I think many of us see that we're being tossed upon the tears as fuel for the fodder, So, anyways, one final note, and I'm going to go grab Dave and bring him in. Miner Dave joins us. He's Roaring Bear, the Keeper of the Republic, and he's gonna host this first hour. He's gonna be coming up to UCY sometime soon, so I am glad to share the mic with him. And one final note that I did have, Lady Justice, the system that we work in today, with the politics, with all the control systems. We've discussed it all here, so. In lieu of reiterating self-same, I'd say that Lady Justice has been blindfolded, and with that proverbial thumb on the scale, it gets tipped in the direction that those with power choose to move it. So, and a judge once told me that he was not, in fact, interested in justice, but the letter of the law. And with that, I go to seek Mr. Dave Everest, the Keeper of the Republic, a roaring bear indeed, great voice, coming to the UCY, and he's ringy-dinging right now. So in any moment, we will be having him join us. So I'll stand by for a second. Oh, by the way, great show, Chuck, Michelle, Kobe. Kobe's a new host with Double Cross Radio that follows you, What Matters Worldwide.
Hello.
There's David. Welcome, David.
Yeah. I just had to get ready and shut the internet off because running it causes me. I had my browser kept on crashing, but I heard earlier on an earlier show that that YouTube's being hacked. Yeah, it's being hacked. By who? I don't know yet. But it doesn't seem to be affecting YouTube, Ubuntu, Linux. My computer hasn't been hacked, and I don't have any viruses because they're constantly upgrading my security. So I would say Microsoft 8 is designed for the NSA to read everything you're doing and to slow you down. I get rid of it. That's just my opinion. Now, I have a friend that I would like to plug his website. It's called badcounty.com. It's where he goes to these commissioners' meetings, city meetings, other committee meetings, and he films them. And then he points out their inconsistency of their corruption. So badcounty.com. It's run by Dale Matthews. It's a non-commercial site. I'd hope people go look at it. He's got lots of film up there. So tonight I was going to talk about a news update. I got a thing in the mail today from the court. They asked me, they signed an order for me to show cause, gave me 21 days to answer it. They mailed it on the 21st. It came yesterday. I got it this morning. Well, I had it read to me. Fortunately for me, I've answered it. I don't know how I got lucky, because I didn't know about this order to show cause, but I answered a brief from the government, and I brought it back to what I was asking for, was a trustee to be appointed the Inspector General of the Department of Interior to come and defend the grantee, or otherwise known as the beneficiary, which would be me. And so I sent an email off to my attorney, and I sent one to Drew. I send it around to make a chain of it. You don't have to send it a lot, but if you send it to a federal agency, you don't want them losing emails. So, and then I send it to my lawyer, but he's a federal agency. You don't want him to lose it. So you send it to other people you know, and then you have them forward it around, and then it can't get lost. So I would suggest if you have an important email you want to archive, email it around to all your friends, or anybody you got email addresses that will accept it. Just have them archive it in their memory. And so now, other news. I went to the commissioners meeting yesterday in Josephine County because from 2 weeks ago, I'd been there and I served them all the tort paperwork. So I come up with the gas money, and I came up with the copies of an order that they approved in October 16th. But they just approved that order again that they did in April. And so now it's in the record, and in a couple of weeks again, they'll approve it again for the third time. I was just following procedure so that it doesn't screw up any times, because then you've resubmitted it, and when you're trying to bring it to being ripe. And so Sheriff Gilbertson was there because they were getting ready to pass a $500,000 budget for him to get some 4 patrol officers and 2 911 operators. And so I got to give him a copy of the order, and Mr. Wally Hicks, the new county attorney that takes office in January, he finally got it off of Facebook, and he's going to review it, and he'll be meeting with me to go over what we get him vetted. He wants to question me about things, and so he's checking the validity of my story out. And so if he decides that I'm right, he'll be advising the sheriff on a course of action, so that the sheriff has his legal team there, so that he can enforce it. He won't be hanging out in the wind by himself, since Stephen Rich wouldn't do anything of the sort. And so now we got an attorney that will. And so, by the way, with this attorney, Stephen Rich made it a campaign, a slight to Mr. Wally Hicks that I took offense to. Yeah, he was a divorce attorney, but I have a different theory about divorce attorneys. You hate the ones that are not your attorney. You like your attorneys, so remember, it cuts both ways. But anyway, so what we need is a good divorce attorney to divorce ourselves from the federal government, the control over the abusive, bullying nature of this unlawful, unrespectful government that wants to dictate what local government does when they have no business dictating anything. We stand with the federal government as an equal, and in the mining law, as a government, I stand with the government equal as a mining district. And I stand with them as an equal, except for one thing. The mining law. It's above and a part of all other law, because it's a treaty. It's just like it's a treaty for American citizens. And it was advertised in Europe for people to come, move out here, and get citizenship, and you could file a 20-acre mining claim. It was to make settlement. These lands are disposed of, and the mineral estate is already disposed of. It lies in title in the United States until a claimant comes by and files on it, and then perfects it to title, and that's where the government doesn't want you to perfect the claim. So a guy like me that doesn't have much money, they try to run off by saying me being on the land is a disturbance, when they're talking about soil disturbance. Soil disturbance is where if I'm digging in the ground, I'm not allowed to dump it on my neighbor, meaning if you were my next door neighbor, I couldn't dump my tailing piles on your land without your permission, without an agreement. I can put it anywhere on my claim, but I can't without contracting the neighbor, or by mutual agreement, where maybe he wants the rock. Who knows? Some people kind of like rock. So there's just certain things that goes on that way. And so what we're doing here is we're trying to take back what's lawfully ours in a granted trust, with duties. There's duties of the beneficiary that are required, that they've been interfering with me trying to perform my duties just to even keep the grant. I've been successful because I document, I know how to fill out the paperwork, and I know what work's being done, and I know who's doing the work, and I can get them to sign off under a notary that they've done the work, the physical work, and then I put in all my legal work. I've got thousands of hours in legal work. If I win my case, they'll have to pay me for all the time I spent fighting the case, just as I was an attorney, and whatever the prevailing wage is for an attorney, only it would come to me through what they call a constructive purchase and payment. My left-hand pocket loaned my right-hand pocket time. Well, the only thing the right-hand pocket can do is pay back the left-hand pocket with money. So if I win my case, my right hand pays back my left hand, and it's called checks in the mail. That's actually a legal term, checks in the mail. When you owe yourself the money, it's irrelevant. It means you're putting in your time. It's just a way of billing your time so that you can acquire damages for lost production of time because of my court orders ordering me not to do something that's in breach of the trust, and it's a constructive trust. That's why I'm suing in the tort. Now, the court wanted me to answer show cause. Show cause means is they want to know why it shouldn't be at the Ninth Circuit. Well, I've given them why it shouldn't be at the Ninth Circuit. It's called the Tucker Act. The Tucker Act is based on Congress passing the Tucker Act protecting private property rights, and where governments have been sued by minors, and they got $110 million. This was before Executive Order 12630, which was based on this court's ruling that awarded that $110 million. And Ronald Reagan signed Executive Order in 1987 based on Congress writing the law conforming to the ruling, and Ronald Reagan is signing an executive order based on legitimate reasons, ordering federal agencies that whenever there's a federal question in mind and a private property issue is its subject, they're required to do a takings implication assessment to see if what they do is going to cause the takings. And if they do, if based on that, if it was, it doesn't mean they couldn't stop, just means they'd have to pay you, they'd have to compensate you. And in this case, it's a gold mine. And this would also be for temporary takings, because see, they're not saying they're depriving me forever, just while I'm on probation. So it's called a temporary taking. They have to still pay for that because they prevented me from making my livelihood. And the judge ordered the destruction of a mining facility, which under the national security law is the same as if you attacked a military base and tore it down unauthorized. Can a federal judge order a military base to be torn down? Well, I don't think so. Well, that's what they did with my mining claim, because it stands as an equal. Attack on a mining facility is an attack as if you were attacking a military base. So I may be running all over the place because I got volumes of information, and I try not to do notes because it just confuses me. So if you have any questions, Colby, that would be great. Shoot them at me and have them shoot them through Skype, and you can get them to me. I can't read and talk at the same time. So if you could get anybody to ask me a question in chat and pass it on to me, that would be great. And so what we're doing here is like we're Mr. Bundy's cases, where I understand Mr. Bundy's case is he's purchased some of his water rights, he's purchased some of the grazing rights, and he inherited some of the grazing rights. Well, that means it's real property, because he couldn't have bought those rights at the time he bought them and registered them in the county without having a water right to it. That means he had to have a piece of paper saying he had it certified. And so I'm sure that when he filed all that, he has the water rights for his cattle and other things for the consumption. They stem from mining rights, because see, miners need water. They consume parts of it, but a lot of it they just use to wash rocks and wash dirt out. And if you build a settling pond, you don't have to worry about turbidity. And by the way, turbidity doesn't hurt the fish at all. They're used to it, especially considering my river doesn't have any fish in it. Any fish you would ever see, they don't make it because it's too shallow unless I do dredge it. If you want to plant fish in my creek, it's landlocked by the Applegate Dam, and there's no fish ladder. So anything west of the dam that is not a fish hatchery, and it can't be. And if they want fish in there, they should put a fish ladder in, but they didn't. Anyway, so that's where I feel on Mr. Bundy's rights is they also stem from the mining rights, because the miner would use it washing the rocks, and then it would be put into a pond where the cattle guy could gravity feed water off of it and irrigate either irrigate or feed his cattle water, because water is life. And if you want big corporate entities stealing your water rights, well, like by tearing the dam out here in Klamath Falls, well, where do you think the water's going to go? They're going to pipe it to Southern California, and they're all built up, geared up to take that water. And then what is Northern California going to have? That's the way I see things. You got to get out and fight for your way of life. Now, if you're in the city, you should be thinking about: do you like to eat beef? Do you realize that beef prices are going through the roof? And it's because it's the attacks on ranchers. How are you supposed to feed all the people out here in the West? You put them in big cities, you move them off the rural lands, the people that are growing the food or raising the beef or mining the industry or logging the timber. Who do you think's going to do it? It's going to get done. It's just, do we get to do it, or does the big corporations get to do it? And is it going to be an equitable situation for everybody that goes around here in the community? Meaning that, is it going to pay for the sheriff's department? Is it going to pay for the different government agencies that everybody seems to think when you go to work for the federal government, any government, you should make $75,000, $100,000 a year? Well, who's going to pay for that? They wanted a levy in Josephine County. Who's going to pay for that? They want to put it on the backs of the few, because there's not very many landholders here, comparably to what's available in the state. If you take the state, maybe only 15% of the state is developed. The rest of the state's rural, and they're trying to kick people off those lands that could be productive. They could be producing things instead of taking it from somewhere else and giving it to somebody else in this public-private partnership of fascism. See, we're being taken over by fascism. It's called the merger of corporation and government, where you can't distinct the difference between, well, is that a government agency or is it a nonprofit? Why do we need nonprofits? We never had to have nonprofits before. You could be a nonprofit and you could take donations and you never paid taxes on that money, ever. You just had to show your books what you took in donations, and you had to print up a yearly budget. There were certain things you had to do, but nobody even was even taxing anybody of these entities. By going in, incorporating into a nonprofit, you're tagging all the rules and regulations of the federal government, and somebody's calling in.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, well. I think we're lost here. Can anybody hear me in chat? Dave? Well, I show is connected. Are you there, Dave? Am I here? Dum, dum, dum. Dum, dum, it. Can you hear me? I'll spell it with a K. KKK. Can you? Well, crap. We're dead? Oh, you do hear me, Jax. Okay, so we just lost Dave then. Huh. Well, I'm glad I could wash your mind for you, by the way. Okay, thanks, Becky. Oh, no kidding. Thank you. That's what happened. Thank you, Jimmy. So, yeah, Dave, you're going to have to disconnect what you did. I'm on. Okay. Yeah, I got you, Jimmy. Thanks. Hey, Boiler Room Radio, Jimmy is a great help here, man. I really appreciate everything you did do. Or do, that is. He's not here, man. That's good. So, never get that. You can't, I mean, never hear that too many times, right? Okay, Dave. Listen up, mate. Sometimes I feel like I need to talk like I'm from Australia or something, right? That was a video I did. Anyways, when I was down on courtside.
Hello, are we back?
Oh, there you are.
Are we back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed.
I was trying to answer for Colby to come in.
Oh, well.
I was trying to add him in.
Look, I can go add him, but I'm going to tell you the problem, remember, is that there's a 5-second delay from my end, and by the time it goes back and comes back, and two people are trying to conversate on the other end, you guys are going to be looking at 10 seconds and then probably double that because you're going to be stuttering in the meantime. So that's not going to probably work very well that way tonight. But if you guys can work that, I can go get Colby and add him in. But as long as you're aware of that. So you'll just have to do like
right.
you do.
I'll be aware. Definitely.
Okay. I'll go get Colby. And Dave, you go ahead and take it back away. And Dave is here, man. Okay. Go ahead, Dave, and I'm going to go get Colby, and I'll add him to the call.
All right. I'm right here. What do I need to do? Just stay right here? Keep talking?
Yeah, keep talking. I'm going to go get Colby and add him in.
Yeah, all right. All right. So I'm back to talking. I was trying to pick up Colby because I imagine he's got some questions. And I didn't do something right. I apologize. I'm just learning how to do this. Anyway, so what we're at here is we need people to come to a cause of action, and just because it's not your board being axed, it could be the next time around. Because see, what if they decide, arbitrarily, they're just going to evacuate all of the Rogue Valley? What if they decided Medford had to move, and didn't give us a choice, and they put us all on trains and hauled us out? Hitler did that. Where did he take the people to? Well, think about that. So we don't want to head down that road. We still have a chance now if people get together and start networking like-minded people that are for property rights, but also remembering that you're to do no harm to your neighbor. You need to work in harmony with your neighbor.
Absolutely.
Meaning that,
pardon the interruption. We do have Colby now, Dave. So I hand the mic to you two folks.
All right, Colby, go ahead. Can you hear me, Colby?
So, yes, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you've got a really large delay and I need a better internet connection, or maybe you need to come over here for your radio show so we can fix this up. But it's a bar around the corner. But
hey, Colby,
one of the things
my
that haven't actually brought up.
Sorry to interrupt again. Yeah, my apologies. We've got a 10-second delay because I've got 5 here, then it goes in, and then you're hearing it. It's another 5 getting back, and then the response usually is, can you hear me? So as long as you guys can work with this right here, realize that you're going to have a delay. So I would suggest take a talking points and then pass the mic with a, okay, here you go. And so there we go. Thanks.
Got it. Okay. So
Go ahead.
the thing is, I mean, have you taken into account with the drought we're having here? Everyone's talking about, oh my goodness, the drought. Now, what happens with mining? What happens with precipitation? What happens with removal of dams? You have dams that hold water back and create a larger body of water that actually evaporates in the spring and summertime and produces water, and then we take them all out. We charge people through executive fiat, technically, by having a city council or a county commission say, oh, we're going to charge you multi-billion dollars to remove these dams, and then we're going to tack them onto your water bill or your electric bill, so get over it. And then what happens? Right after all of this happens, what happens? We see the largest drought in our county, mining and agricultural district, that we've seen ever. You got the floor, Dave.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. We have, this is a bad drought. This is the worst one I've ever seen, and I've lived here since 1969. So it's pretty dry. But fortunately for me, where I'm staying at, I got a good well, and I'm watering the yard. And I'm actually, my dad's made an oasis out here in Eagle Point, where it used to be 114 degrees in the shade, and now it's like 80 degrees in the shade because we planted trees. We developed this property by planting trees all over the place. Now, there's parts of the property that is still a desert because you can only do so much when the Army stripped off all of the dirt. Because when we came out here, when we acquired the land, there was 3 owners before that, and then it was the Army that owned it, and they stripped it down to the hard pan, so Army personnel could practice digging foxholes. So we filled all those in, and we leveled the ground and planted trees where we could get water to them. And now I have a beautiful place. So if you want to have a beautiful place, I would say finish Lost Creek Dam. I would say that would be for irrigation for this time of year. Would not have been nice if that would have been completed. We would be not having this problem with the drought because water would be available. Anyways, so what we're looking at here is property rights, and I'm going to let it back to you, Kobe.
So let's talk about property rights. Let's talk about for many years you're allowed to have ponds in your property that are hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, and you're allowed to do this through a stream. And then all of a sudden, your property rights are gone because the city and the state changed their water ordinance, and then you, as a pastor, and as someone I know as a very well reputable person in this county, who has produced 2 children who honestly were the nicest children I've ever met in my life. I went to high school with them personally. One of them died in a plane crash. So your son dies in a plane crash, and then about a couple of years later, the county says, oh, by the way, thanks for helping us out when that wildfire happened because you shared your water out of your pond, sir. Mr. Harrington, you no longer have the rights to that pond because the state's legislative business on this has changed, and the EPA's business on this has changed through, whatever avenues they change it through, which is usually executive fiat or just bureaucratic bullshit. And you can drain them. As a pastor, he stood on moral ground, and he spent how many days, I'm turning it over to Dave right now. How many days did he spend in prison, Dave?
I'm not sure how many days he got because he did them 2 different times, but he was in jail when I was in jail. They just had him in the other dorm. And so I didn't get to talk to him, and I didn't get to meet him. So I don't know him, but I know that the Medford Water Commission was cleaning. That they owned the water rights, but from where his land was and where the pond was, they had no way to get that water because that's not where they drew the water. He was down below them, not above them. And so they had no claim to his water, and he was collecting rainwater. And it's not, in fact, there's two government agencies at IDG here within the state, because see, we have a soil conservation district, and they help people put in rainwater systems to collect. And so what now? Those are now illegal. So those were all paid with grant dollars. So now they gave a grant to build them. Well, now they all have to be torn out. You watch, they're going to go after all of that. And so one agency's spending the money putting them in, another agency's going to come by and spend the money to take them out. You watch. Back to you.
I think that was an arbitrary case of just blatant abuse by the county. I mean, it's the city of Medford's done it too. They did it with the they were issuing permits to people for medical marijuana dispensaries, and all of a sudden a DHS Larco Bearcat approved grant shows up, and they get a Larco Bearcat in town, right, Dave? And 3 months later, what do? They bust every dispensary in town, haul them in on $2 million bail. $2 million for running something you gave them a permit for in the city that you gave them a permit for. You're a conspirator at that point. What are you doing? And this is the kind of stuff that we have arbitrarily happening. The news put out, not even a week and a half ago, that we have these traffic cameras going into place. It was actually funny because right before that governor from Florida put out a bolo about, hey, the reason why I'm against the Real ID Act and I'm for the right to travel is the fact that this is actually being incorporated in everybody's city that's large. The largest cities in every state will get this as a grant. Any city that wants it will get it. They put cameras on top of your things. They say we'll control your lights. So ODOT is the one in Oregon that controls all of the traffic devices, roadways, what have you. And they say it's a Medford Police Department grant came through instead of ODOT, and they put this on the news. They say a Medford Police grant came through so that we could have cameras to better actually take care of our street lights installed in these areas. Medford Police doesn't take care of our cameras. ODOT does. Back to Dave on that one, because I'm sure he's going to lose it.
Yeah, I've gotten one of those red light tickets, and it's and you don't even pay they wanted me to sign a contract with a corporation to pay them money, and my federal probation prohibited me from signing any contracts until because I'm informis papis, and but I haven't been authorized to pay the fine now for $5 when I've got the $5 to give to the court. And as far as I know, the red light cameras is just an infraction, and they can't count these red light tickets. Your license can't be suspended over them for failure to non-pure when you've served them a notice of informis papis that you don't have the money, and that it would be a hardship for them to suspend your license, and that if you're trying to make a payment periodically, they can't suspend your license. So that's where that stands. But that's part of my suit in the public-private partnership. Because, see, the city of Medford is in partnership with Southern Oregon Regional Economic Development, which is a misnomer. They're actually anti-development. They're there to soak up all the money so that as they soak up the money, they actually prevent projects from going through. And the only one that I know that they've been successful for is Apple Annie's out here in White City. The guy that brought that here is doing 3 years in prison for money laundering, And so there's a lot of people that former Sorority people that are now that were members that are now in federal prison. Sorority has the habit of picking the wrong people to come help promote them. They seem to get guys that end up pulling scams and doing money laundering and wiretapping and shipping money all over the place. And this guy pled it out so it wouldn't go any further. If he would have fought, somebody had to shut him up because it should have led to the top. And what? The U.S. Justice Department here gets a conviction against him and then doesn't follow up. Well, what about the rest of his associates? Where are they? And so as we uncover the corruption in this crony capitalism we call here Medford City, they go around and hassle young adults. Some of these young adults are not too bright, and some of them need very heavy-handed guidance. That's because there's no work for them. They can't hardly get hired for a job because they don't know nothing. They don't want to work, and they just want to abscond and appropriate with other people's funds. But then, instead of rehabilitating them, they look at them as a money laundering thing, and they get these guys to sign contracts. When they convict them, they put them into jail. When they get out of jail, they're on probation. Then they've got their jail stay to pay for while they were in jail. So they're always trying to get that money up to stay out of jail to pay the money. So the county is now feeding off of these 20-year-olds that then turn around because they're trying to pay off this fine, and they go do some more stupid stuff. And it's an ever-ending cycle. I watched so many frauds while I was in jail committed there. And, of course, I couldn't interfere. Somebody asked me a question. I would give them advice on what to do. Would be, you're going to do 5 days, right? It's going to be 5 days before you see the judge. Wait for the judge. Why? Well, they're going to sentence you again. This is blah, blah, blah. They're going to let you go. They're not going to keep you. Don't sign any papers when you leave. He goes, what do you mean? I said, refuse to sign anything. They'll still kick you loose. If they do and you don't sign anything, you don't extend out your probation. Once your probation date is up, you're done. But if you actually re-sign a new contract with them, then they get to extend the contract out. And everybody I've advised of that didn't sign. And the time went by and everything went away. So I advise people, if you're charged with a crime, they're going to give you time, whether it be county jail time, whether it be prison time, or they're going to bleed you to death if you take probation. I say take everything to trial. Take everything to trial. If everybody that was charged with a crime took it to a trial, a lot of these charges like Gary Harrington wouldn't be happening because they wouldn't have time to screw with him if they had to take everything to trial and got rid of plea bargaining. And then when a prosecutor brought a flimsy case, the judge should be admonishing him, why are you bringing this trumped-up case? And he should give that attorney some time in jail to think about it when they bring horseshit cases, excuse me. But I've lived here a long time. I've seen a lot of stupid stuff done by both sides, by people that have lived their lives here, that all they ever did was get in trouble because they didn't know how to not stay out of trouble because nobody ever taught them. Back to you, Kobe.
I came back in 3 years of being in the military, and I seriously saw this. There is an epidemic here. We have heroin, we have cocaine, we have meth, we have pills that are epidemically destroying this community with gangs. And I don't live too far from David, actually. I mean, he's seriously 2 turns 3 turns away from me right now. I could take a turn on one street, take a turn on another, go up it, take another turn, and be at his house in 5 seconds. He comes over here all the time. And thankfully, he has a different respect for other people. I mean, he has a brilliant mind, and he researches a lot of the things for himself because he's pointed, and I would be too. If I was in a case, I did this with my custody cases in 2 different states. I won sole custody of my daughter in 2 mom states, one being Jackson County, one being Texas, because I was pointed. You know, I got a public defender for Jackson County because I was just a disabled veteran that didn't make that much, and you know, he was like, "You're not going to win." And I was like, "Well, you might want to watch yourself, buddy." And I won. And he said he would represent me any day of the week if I needed any other help. And he's been a great guy. In Texas, I spent $1,200.
Yeah, some public defenders are great.
I was a crew chief. Well, he was skeptic. He didn't know who he was dealing with. I did all the research for him. But when you're at a pointed position in life, when you're being threatened, you can focus that energy. It's really nice. I mean, David does that. He focuses that energy into his case, and he's very adamant about it, and he wants to tell people about it, because the simple fact is, you could do this on every traffic ticket. You could do this on every time you get a parking ticket, and guess what? It is non-constitutional. You have the right to travel where you wish to without anything, without a license, without registration, without insurance. Although I will state, insurance is a positive thing to have. In the state of Oregon, you don't have to have registration or a license to get insurance, because the Supreme Court has ruled that travel is an unalienable right. You have the right to travel as long as you're not collecting commerce, while you're doing such, you're not breaking the law. At that point, you have to go to the DMV. And a lot of people don't even know this. I was in the Army for 8 years, and I abided by the rule of law and the supremacy of, if you screw up, everything will come back to haunt you and your life is over. Well, I tell you what, now that I've gotten out and seen the real politicization of the military and how things really work in the military, it doesn't surprise me what I found in my government, and it doesn't surprise me what I found with ignorance of the people. The ignorance is truly in the people. If we don't correct it and spread it and preach it and try to be nonviolent with it at the same time, I don't agree with a lot of the left, but at the same time, there are many of them that if they were just led in the right direction, the LGBT thing could have been changed. You could have said, hey, why don't we run this as freedom of religion from government for all? Now, religion is not what you would think it is. It's not Islam, it's not Judaism, it's not Christianity, it's what you actually personally believe. If you look at the definition of religion, it's what you actually believe. So the issue of the left, like we know, is that they only push things in one demographic because they have a spearhead. The more we branch out on what we're doing as an individual, the more people will see that, you know what, these people are right, and they're doing the right thing. And it's not, quote-unquote, the right thing. It's the constitutional thing. And it's the fact that it's your sovereign right to have these things in your life. And at that, I'm going to give it back to Dave, and I'm probably off here for a little bit.
All right. Well, I thank you for all the great compliments. I've worked very hard, but one of the things that I did to make it happen is I gave up television. I don't watch television. I haven't watched it in, well, I'm going to say I've seen movies, but I don't watch cable TV because there's too many subliminal messages in it. It gives me a headache. And so, and I have other friends that do the same. We watch movies, but we don't watch them on cable. We just go down and get a DVD and watch it. Or there's plenty of old movies you can get off of YouTube. So, by the way, I think we live in an amazing time because we have the biggest megaphone on the planet, because everybody can hear that wants to tune in and listen, and it's only going to get bigger and better for Jules, because I'm working on directing traffic to UCY TV. I've been doing it through my YouTube. That's why I share everything. I don't have the time to watch all the programs or listen to them, but I share them. And if I share them, it's for people that want to listen to whatever they want to listen to, because there's a lot out there and no one person can get it all. And so back to you, Colby.
All right, I'm here. And Jules, I guess, just missed that last portion that I spoke about and that you spoke about. But she was up doing some things with kiddos. I know how that goes. But it's serious. I mean, I'm an ex-soldier, and I didn't choose to be non-combative because I was against government. I chose to be non-combative because, in a sense, I don't know if I could actually deal with the retrospect of killing someone. So instead, I was medevac, and I went to war twice. I've actually conducted martial law in the United States. A lot of things that would blow your mind that you wouldn't think, or I wouldn't have even known at the time, were constitutionally unacceptable. And after getting out and being retrospectively shafted by our lovely government corporation that we have, I mean, I woke up, and it took a while. I mean, I didn't find even UCY or Double Cross until actually I got the Republican Party and found the Ron Paul culture of it and the liberty-minded culture of it, and met people that had the same mindset that I did. And I really think that, there's a lot of people that just really don't know what's going on. We have to do it unilaterally, and we have to continue doing it, and like I said, as non-violently as we can, and try to spread the word that, are you really thinking for yourself, or are you just believing what other people tell you? Because 90% of them are just believing what other people say on the news, like David just said, on the news, on the TV, on the media. I mean, Fox News doesn't even tell the truth. Alex Jones doesn't tell the truth. There's a lot of people that don't tell the truth. The truth is out there, is what some people say, but it is. It's only if you find it. And there's many of those people that I will still listen to, but at the same time, it's subjectively. You have to look at both sides of the truth and see what's really going on, because it's a hard world out there, and there are no truths to it. There are none. I've got to get ready for this next radio show we got coming up, but make sure the kids are okay, give them kisses, and eat some dinner with the family. But I will be back on here later at 7 o'clock with Double Cross Radio. So back at David.
Well, good evening, Colby, and that was good. I liked you joining in, and I'm looking forward to more of it. Now, looks like we have probably about 6 minutes left, huh, Vince? So, what do you want to do?
Yeah, oops. Sorry, got to plug in here. I was in the middle of typing. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we got 5 minutes, and Jose's going to be coming up here at the top of the hour. So, well, I'm thoroughly distracted now, Dave. Let me just ask you this.
I'm sorry.
No, let me go ahead and ask you this. In what direction would you suggest to those listening a positive direction one might take to change the world?
They go to the local county commissioners with their grievance, write them in the form of a legal notice, and notice them, and read it into the record. Different counties have different time-speaking minutes. Jackson County, they give you 5 minutes. Josephine County, they give you 3 minutes. But you can go get informed on the issues that you're passionate about. By the way, you don't have to agree with me on any of this. This is for us to hash it out, to have a reasonable discourse for civil society. And the Constitution says you go to your county commissioners, you lay your grievances upon the county commissioners, and the sheriff, and they can actually, they have a duty of trust to go to bat against um, uh, what they call enemies of the Constitution, meaning when they're usurping authority they don't have, and the federal government. And the sheriffs are actually the chief law enforcement. By the way, they're also chief of the militia of their county, and they're the controlling legal person in charge of it. They don't take orders from anybody but themselves. And so when you had New Orleans, and Bush didn't send anybody in there, it's because he didn't have a formal request asking for assistance by the local sheriff. Yeah, the sheriff has to ask for help, or there's no jurisdiction for the federal government to come in and do anything. And see, that's the problem. People haven't tried to work some of these problems out themselves. They're passing up getting roads paved to the federal government. Why would we be looking to the federal government? Why don't we look within the community? Why don't we, like if you've got a dirt road, why don't you let them grade it? Don't require them a permit when you're out in a rural country. If a guy's seen something he could fix and fixes it, now I can do it under the mining law if it's directly affecting my mining claim, and I can claim it as maintenance. But but then they want to harass you for fixing the road, and it's our duty as a citizen to keep our access open. We have every right to clear the road, and I would say, for the last thing going is I'm sometime in the future would like people to come out to my mining claim and see my claim, and I'd like to be able to do a fundraiser so I could change my opportunities. And so if anybody would like to make an arrangement to go out and see my claim, have an opportunity to be on a real live claim. Now, I can't work with you, but I have an associate out there that could teach you things. And so people could come out and learn mining and find gold, and under the right circumstances, you know,
Okay, I'm going to assume that I am back now. And Jose, go ahead and call. I'm going to do this. Let me drop back out of Skype. Doggone it. Okay, Jose, let me go message you. Okay, 4 minutes ago you're ringing. And that was perfect because we're at 6:03. So I will say call. I type slower than I talk. Call again now, please. Oh, you know what? I miss home. I'm ready to go back home to Arkansas. But I still got so many road trips planned out here. What I really hope to do. Now, I've come in, while we're waiting on Jose, I'm going to give you all just a little update where I am. This is beautiful here. I mean, dadgum, the wildlife. Oh, by the way, can y'all hear me? Fine, just talking to myself here. Yeah, I think I am going. Becky? I think so. Anyways, cool. Okay, here comes Jose. I'm going to add him. And now, let's see if we are still live, Jose. What the crap? Oh, you know what's going on? I'm going to hang up and re-add it back. Okay, I guess I'm here now. There's some new Skype stuff, I guess. Glad I didn't brag about how I didn't get killed from Skype earlier today when Chuck and Michelle and Kobe were having problems. So, here I am, and Jose, dadgum, they've changed something. Now, in order to add your call, somehow I've been excluded from doing so without having Skype credits. Not sure on that. So listen, brother, I know you're in chat now and listening, so I'll tell you what you do. Call me on my cell phone, and I'm going to plug the jack into the speakers, and then it'll transmit through my mic into Skype. So give me a call. Let me minimize Skype here. Go back to chat. Thanks, Jax. Dadgummit. Missy, you do have some. No, can't do it like that. Sorry, Jose. Decline. I'm not going to add you because it's a dealy whacker going on there. Call my cell phone 501-253-5256. Arkansas telephone in the Ozarks. Transmitting via the White Hills of Arizona. Maybe, perhaps, I shall call him then. And while I'm doing so, hey, there he is. He's calling me. How you like that? And I'll push the green button that says, Hola, camarado, cuñado, ¿qué dices? Whoops, hold on. I got to take this cover off to be able to plug in here. It's like some neoprene. Well, I'm answering here, and I'm going to plug you in. Hold on. Okay, now I got you on some supersonic speakers right here. And I will remind you that we are transmitting worldwide from UCY.TV with What Matters Worldwide. Y con Jose. You got to say that right, because sometimes words do have meanings, and other times they're frivolous. But, Jose, welcome, brother.
Thanks. Yeah. You have to say it right, otherwise they'll say there's no one by that name at this address.
Exactly. Exactamente. Okay, so I hope this is working now. Somebody tell me in chat, because what I've done is Jose's called my phone. I've got it plugged into speakers, and let me make sure those are loud enough. So give us another audio test, and let's see how this works.
So I want to remind people that I am Jose, and I express my opinions based on my research and my personal experiences with clients and my workshops and my 50-plus years of life and living. And my opinions are to be held I'm to be held solely accountable for my opinions and leave, Vince and UCY and everybody else alone. I like feedback, as long as it's positive or constructive. Hey, what's that? He sounds a bit quite like Timmy. Hey, I sound tiny? I can speak louder, I guess. I should stop reading in chat, because I get a feeling that the texts on chat are more entertaining than I am, and I'd rather read them than listen to myself. Okay, I'm getting a little feedback there, Vincent.
Oh, crap.
But if it's okay on your end, I think I can deal with it over here. And to be honest with you, tonight's topic is a long topic, but it's a topic that I can cut short or, make last a couple of weeks if we had to. Because conflict resolution is kind of like it's kind of like the busyness of relationships, Okay.
Hey, Jose, let me ask you, how's your Skype? Did you get your Skype issue fixed? Maybe we can...
I think what I'm going to have to do with Skype is just open up a different account, because of the... I don't know if it's Skype or Microsoft, but my Skype is dead.
Okay.
And I started with my hot test.
It appears we're doing better. Missy says that the buzz is gone, and Jack says sounding better. So I think we're here. Hey, good idea. Jack's firing a hoe. Take it away, Jose. I'm not going to mute it because I can't mute and transmit also. So here we go. It's all you, brother.
You're coughing and sneezing, and you're sparking it up and
flatulence. Don't leave out flatulence, okay? Oh, did I do that, Mom?
They were trained up you, but anyway, I don't know how much y'all got to hear before, but I was praising Dave, because I'm telling you, the more I hear about his ordeal and his successes and so on and so forth, the more I want to know. When I first heard him, I was like, there's just another guy telling us sob story. And, I realized that I could learn a lot from him because I got my own, bunch of sob stories. And just so you guys know, I'm going to stop reading the comments on chat because you guys are like you're too good at multitasking. I can only do one thing at a time. And as a matter of fact, I'm getting so bad that I even I stopped my cuckoo clock because it was too distracting for me whenever it would sound off. I may bring it back here after a while once I learn to get coordinated, but I can still tap my head and rub my belly at the same time, but if I try to talk, I spit the gum out and stuff like that.
I so miss the cuckoo. Pay no attention to the interruption. Continue talking, Jose. Con mucho gusto. Gracias.
That's what you do. You should make a cuckoo sound at the bottom of the hour. So, anyway.
See what happens now? Hey, this is what happens, Jose. Look, I'm uncensored, uninterrupted because I cannot mute myself.
Yes. Before, when you asked to join in on the first part of the hour before, a lot of folks and everybody kind of talking at once, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm too busy listening to everybody else anyway. And for people accuse me of talking too much already. Can you imagine me getting into like a conference call like that? But anyway, Dave had mentioned in closing, some of the things that he had said was, he said, and I quote him, "You don't have to agree with me, but you do have to start a dialogue." And in that, I'm like, yes, that's what my show tonight is about. My portion of the show is, we have a conflict in a relationship. And remember that a relationship could be a romantic relationship, just a sexual relationship. It could be your relationship with your father or your mother, your brother, your sister, your dog, your neighbor, your boss, the customer, if you're a customer or OEM, type of a worker. Any time that you communicate in any form whatsoever, you are in a relationship. And at some point, every relationship is going to encounter a conflict. And if you are in a romantic relationship, those conflicts are going to last for the length of the relationship and maybe even longer, right? Especially if you have the kind of attitude where you think you don't have to listen to Jose on relationships because you're an expert about it, right? So as Dave mentioned, you don't have to agree. This is what happens in the conflict. One side of the relationship says yes, and the other side says no, and it becomes right off the bat, it is a difference of opinion. And if we try to resolve it, that's called a debate. Now, the problem is, if we refuse to resolve a difference of opinion, it builds up. It builds up continuously. And we may say, oh, I'd rather just, ignore it and instead of arguing about it. And especially guys do this. I remember I do kind of harass guys about our tendency to think we are holier than thou because we refuse to engage in an argument or we refuse to escalate a difference of opinion into a debate. Mostly because, and I've discussed in previous shows, that guys are raised differently. Women are hardly ever told that fighting is bad. little girls are not told fighting is bad, but boys, we're always warned. Don't be fighting. Fighting is bad. You're gonna fight. You have to fight for a good reason. Blah blah blah. And guys grow up thinking, well, it's gonna be an argument. I'd rather not even get into it because I was told fighting is bad. We think things are kind of different.
I say don't be a wuss all your life. Sorry, keep going. That's
wow, you sound really far away.
Price you
really
pay,
small.
buddy.
I think I could step on you right now.
I'm not but a wee little pissant.
I know what it is. I'm saying you sound far away or really small, but what it is that you're probably really high, right?
Well, I forgot I was supposed to be rolling a joint. Dadgummit. All right.
Yeah.
Away.
Airplanes, when they're flying over, it look real small because they're really high. And anyway, so when we have probably the most common request I have from couples is on the lines of conflict resolution. But because there's so much emotion to the point of potential hostility involved when I get the request, I get requests like, how can I handle it when he's so stupid that he doesn't even listen to my point of view? I chose those words because they're milder than what I actually get, because I understand that Vince tries to run a PG-13 UCY TV show here. But
wait a minute. Hold on. I got to respond to that. Here's this exception. Plug your ears under PG-13. F that.
I can't believe you said the F word.
I did. I said F. F. F.
But so I get a lot of folks, a lot of couples. Usually I get women. Remember what I said, and guys. This is something that we truly have to work on. And when I say this, I think we're going to devote a show only to guys, because guys have a tendency to support each other, or to support each other's bad behavior.
Yeah, because them bitches be hating.
Uh-oh. Was that a female voice I heard?
That was my feminine Negro voice.
Oh shucks! Well, I was getting ready to hang up, and start heading up there your way. But anyway, guys tend to support. We tend to support each other's bad behavior. When I say bad behavior, I mean that behavior that goes against a successful relationship. Now, the trouble with my doing these shows on the air is that one, I only have an hour or less when we have technical difficulties, right? But it's not a linear topic. It's not how men think. Men think we have to start a discussion here and we have to end it over there. But relationships are very different. Relationships are non-linear. Relationships are, by their very nature, circular, and not circular as in a perfect circle. More like when you get a pen and your pen, you try to write and it doesn't write, so you get a scratch piece of paper and you make those loops on the paper to try to get your pen to write. That's a relationship. Okay, you go up, you have your ups, and then you loop back down, and then you come back up and you connect again, but you move forward to a different point, and maybe a little bit higher, and then you loop back down, and then to further complicate the analogy, that pen is going to skip once in a while until finally you get that pen working so well that it's good enough for you to sign your paycheck and hand it over to your girlfriend.
Well, I'm into that, brother. I'm pretty loopy, so I'm probably pretty good.
And of course, that's a big stereotype. Part of what I believe, is a good in a relationship where you pool your money together for the couple, and then from that money, each member gets a little bit. But anyway, we're here to discuss conflict resolution, right?
Okay.
And
I will say thank you, and I'll shut up from this point, except for to add that I am rolled and ready. So, for those that are about to fire up, I salute you. And take it away, Jose.
Okay, and as Vincent, backs away from his cellular phone, we're going to hear that flicking sound around the world, and the world in space right now are going to look down, and the world's going to look a little bit brighter, right? From every time the spark of the big lighter goes off. I always wondered if how that looks from up in the sky. I did one concert one time where we all flicked our Bics, and it was kind of cool the way it looked from the way the stage looked with all the Bics flicking. Anyway, what was I talking about? Okay,
flicking your Bic. Oh, I lied. I didn't shut up.
You just raised the show from PG-13 to mature audience.
PG-14.
Oh, not PG-14. 14 is the age that all movies are made to entertain. And by the way, that's a big problem.
When I lost my virginity, FYI. I'm totally walking all over you, Jose. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, I did tell about it earlier today in chat. Man, I took another dive off the moped, man. I did a face plant. I got a big old black eye. It's like that, that striped line goes down at an angle. It's perfect, man. I ain't had a black eye in so long. I'm kind of ashamed of myself.
You ride a moped?
Yeah, my Bridenstine, yeah.
Is it a Vespa?
It is. Yeah, exactly. 1977. It don't ride well. It don't ride well in the desert, man. Man, this is the second time I spilled. First time I was going over and I knew it. I went and dove off and I took it on the shoulder, like back in football days. And this time I said, "Man, you ain't throwing me, baby." And I was like riding it out, and it was all of a sudden I was like, wham, face plant right on my cheek, my arm, my shoulder. It's like wham. Oh well.
It's okay to put your hands forward to break the fall. No.
Laying on your shoulder. It's like I always remember this from I guess about 100 years ago, back when I was a young man. This guy he jumped out of airplane. Is a perfectly good airplane, but he decided to jump out with a parachute on, and it didn't open, and so he took the fall. Put his hand actually straight out ahead of his, his arm under his head, and landed on his side and broke every point along the way, but lived. So, man, hey, I might not be great at falling, but I'm damn good at sticking the landing.
Did you roll, like an old type of thing?
Oh, no. I was riding this one out to the bitter end, and man, that sand and the Bridenstine tires, they don't match, man. I hit a soft spot. Yeah, man, boom, away I went again.
Was I doing the show when I hurt my shoulder?
Yeah, but remember, don't be a wuss all your life.
Well, I mean, about how I tucked it. And
wait a minute. Well, I think we're going in a whole different direction, and it reminds me of this program. This movie I watched. Forrest Whitaker. It was what was it called? Oh, dadgum. Anyways, he played a British actor. It was called. Oh man, what was it called? The Crying Game. Boy, was I surprised. Talk about tucking. What a good job that was. Oh, boy.
You can't even say the the title of that movie on your PG-13 show. What's the matter with you? I've never even watched the movie, and I already know you can't just get the claim. Hey, wait a minute. I just wanted to point out that I one time took a fall recently, and I put my shoulder in, and in my mind, I looked exactly like one of those NFL. They fall and just roll over and just. And I was like, all right, I think another trick from a distance. And then
sorry, I'm chuckling.
The rope that I had dropped said, no, you're not going to move anymore, right? So, that's good. Unless you have shoulder pads and hip pads and all this kind of helmet and all this kind of stuff, it looks a lot better on TV than in real life. Regardless of how good you are at it. Anyway, stop interrupting because you're making me lose thought. Now I'm going to finish talking about was I talking about flowers?
Sorry, firing off one more time. It went out. Jose, this is pretty fun now. Oh my God, that was a bomb. Okay. One last time.
Maybe you gotta try a bomb. I think you guys. I think people can do whatever they want to their bodies as long as it doesn't harm to anybody else. Yada. But personally, weed has never been my thing. I gave up beer, so I'm trying wine, and wine is really not my. Hey, let me focus. You're breaking my constipation here. Okay. Where was I? I was talking about how guys think
going outside
because they refuse to argue. But in a relationship, if we do not handle or take care of a disagreement or a difference of opinion, it festers, especially if, and this is kind of a stereotype, it happens on both sides, but mostly when I hear it, mostly I hear the feminine argument where he doesn't want to talk to me. And he's like, well, yeah, I love talking to her, but all she wants to do all the time is fight. All she wants to do is argue. Okay, and we kind of discussed that in an earlier show, how, guys see it differently because of how we were raised. So when we have a difference of opinion, as I was saying before, let me put my hands the way I had them so I can remember what I was saying, right? You have a difference of opinion, and it's going to escalate into a debate. And this is where the couple needs to make a decision, or the individuals in the couple need to make a decision. Are we going to debate this? Are we going to debate this for the sake of expressing our opinion or for the sake of winning? Because we're trying to win, that's no longer ceases to be a debate and starts to be an argument. Okay, and when we break it down this way, it helps a couple understand. Okay, somebody in chat, give me a topic of an argument so I can go along with it, and I'm gonna keep on talking here because I know there's a delay between chat and what I'm saying here, and probably more so a delay because I'm on a different cell phone and so on and so forth. So when you right now you have a difference of opinion, and it could be something really, really minor, right? A big issue between couples is the toilet seat. So the feminine wants the toilet seat down, and the masculine wants the toilet seat. Well, the man really doesn't want the toilet seat up. What the man wants is for for the woman to look at the toilet seat before she sits down, right? I mean, that's the classic argument in a couple, right? So there's a difference of opinion. She wants the toilet seat down, and he wants her to be more aware of her surroundings. So mostly so he won't get to blame. Okay, so they start discussing this difference of opinion, and it turns into one wants to express their opinion for the sake of winning, okay, and that's where we go wrong. Instead of saying, "Hey, let's discuss this logically," you want the toilet seat down so that you can come into the bathroom or the restroom and sit down without looking to see if the seat is down. And because I love you, I'm willing to put that seat down, but occasionally I may forget. Just because I love you hardly makes me the perfect person. So what are we going to do for you not to blame me for forgetting to put the seat down? Okay, and see that's where we're having a debate, right? One tells the other their feeling on the topic, and then the other tells the one his or her feeling on the topic. And once both sides express their opinion, a resolution should be simple. As a matter of fact, I like to use the toilet seat example because in my house, we put the whole lid down on the toilet because I hate the thought of me reaching for my toothbrush and then fumbling it and it falling into the toilet. Even if the toilet has been flushed and has supposedly clean water, I'm just going to have to go buy another toothbrush and the hell if I'm going to stick my hand in that toilet and that toilet to take out my toothbrush and I know that toothbrush is not going to go down the drain if I flush it, so who's going to pick it up? If for the sake of my partner, we have the seat down but the lid up, and my toothbrush falls in there, is she going to come and scoop up that toothbrush from the toilet water? And that's my side of the debate. So in my home, we put the seat down also because you have babies and toddlers in the home. It's a very dangerous. Toilets is one of the main ways that babies die in the house. It's very embarrassing to tell people your baby drowned in the toilet. So that's the resolution in my home. But if there is no resolution, if the difference of opinion escalates to a debate and the debate escalates to an argument, then you're arguing because you want to win, not because you want to resolve the situation. And that's the big difference. Okay, now it's becoming a conflict. Okay, and both sides will usually say, I don't know why you're making such a big deal about it. It's just a little bitty topic. It's a little issue. It's not that big a deal. But neither side will recognize the opinions or the perspective of the partner in order to resolve the issue. Okay. And here's what comes. We're arguing about whether the toilet seat should be up or down, and you may both refuse to acknowledge that the whole lid should be down. So now one is arguing that the lid should be down. I mean that the toilet seat should be down, and the other side is arguing that the partner should look at the toilet before she sits down, otherwise she's going to fall into the toilet seat. Now, the female may be saying, if you really, really love me, you'll put the seat down. And the male is saying, well, I do really, really love you, but sometimes I forget. It's got nothing to do with love. And what he's wanting to do is he wants to just win that argument. He wants her to say, fine, I'll look. But she wants him to say, honey, you're important enough for me to try to remember. Okay? It's really not about the toilet seat. It's about the acknowledgement of the perspective. It's the acknowledgement of the feeling. It's the acknowledgement of the emotion that's involved. Okay? Everybody will agree with me that it makes way more sense to just keep the lid down so nothing falls into the toilet, including women, right? Hard for me to imagine anybody with a butt small enough to fall into the toilet anyway, but it happens. I understand that there are some, petite women out there. But it's really less about that toilet seat and more about how are you going to handle this difference of opinion? Okay? Now, we have to acknowledge the reality there, right? Remember, she's really saying, this is important to me. Is it important to you? Is what is important to me important enough to you to continue with this discussion? At some point, most men will just sort of throw their hands up in the air and say, I don't want to argue about this. But men at this point have very little idea what the argument or what the debate or what the difference of opinion really is about. Okay? And often women kind of expect men to, quote, get it, unquote, right? They expect men to understand. But women need to understand that men use most of their intelligence to try to figure out how to spell their name in the snow or in the sand without getting caught. Okay? Not that all men are stupid. I mean, there's some very intelligent men out there. There are men, let's face it, men have pretty much built every high-tech apparatus that there is out there. I'll have to do some research, but I'm sure it was a man that invented the computer. I'm sure it was a man that invented the rocket ship. I'm sure it was a man that decided that the art was a perfect form in order to build buildings and walls and walkways and doorways and so on and so forth. But when it comes to relationships,
excuse me.
We kind of suck. and it's because we're so busy building stuff, right? We think that's our contribution to society, our contribution to humanity, and women are supposed to do all the work. We need to change that attitude, guys. And this is the tool. And okay, I see here that I've got 20 minutes to go, so I'm gonna have to kind of stretch this out a little bit longer. But when we're arguing about I don't know, when we are expressing a different opinion about whether the toilet seat should be up or down, and it has escalated into a debate, and now it is escalated into an argument, the next step, well, the next step is the point of insult, and then the following step is violence or physicality. And keep in mind that physicality is what men or boys have always been warned against, because men know that a woman can come up to you and disagree with you and slap you and hit you in the shoulder and punch you in the stomach and kick you in the shin bones or stomp on your toes or throw things at you and so on and so forth. And we just think it's funny because we can take it, right? But at some point, the man will lose his temper or out of instinct, punch back, and then the woman bounces off the wall or the ceiling or goes to the picture frame window or something, and the police are called and the guy gets taken up in handcuffs. And we have a reputation for being violent because we acted on impulse or because we lost our temper, whatever the case might be. And this is the whole point. That scenario that I just described is why men think that they're holier than thou when they walk out before arguing. Okay, so what it takes is it takes practice in that 5 steps towards a violent reaction that we need to keep it down to the first step. Remember, we have a difference of opinion, then a debate, then an argument, then the insult, and then the physical, and it can go back and forth from one step to another before it gets to the violence. For example, when a man walks out on an argument, that's arguably an act of violence. It is certainly an act of aggression, and it is something that in my business we call passive aggressive. Okay, we sort of strike out at our partners as men, or women do it too, by withholding what the other person wants. Excuse me, and that ends up being a passive aggression. And especially when it becomes something that we do purposely because we know that it irks the partner, right? And so we kind of we want to avoid it getting to that fifth step, because what we just did is we escalated from a difference of opinion or a level 1 straight to that violence, or straight to that because when you walk out, that is a physical act. It is a violent behavior. It doesn't it doesn't mean aggressive, and basically any aggression is considered violent for the purposes of a happy relationship. Now, we can get technical here and define what a happy relationship is, and I hope that we understand that from my point of view, we're always discussing a permanent relationship, and if you want to have anything other than a permanent relationship with a partner, you must express that to that partner so that partner understands that there's no point in arguing about whether the toilet seat is going to be up or down. If next week I might find something better and move on, But for the sake of a permanent relationship, we want to keep it at the debate portion where we're discussing our opinions or expressing our opinions on the topic and staying on topic. Okay? We want to talk about, hey, you left the toilet seat up and I want you to keep it down. If we accuse somebody, you always leave the toilet seat up. We have ceased to talk about, hey, you left the toilet seat up right now, and now we're talking about you always leave the toilet seat up. So going back to my lecture on communication, you say what you want, stay on topic, okay? Or actually, you say what you want, be specific, stay on topic, which means avoid getting on those tangents, avoid accusations about you always do this or you always do that. Stay on the topic. You left the toilet seat up right now, and that's what we're discussing. Okay? Avoid asking those rhetorical questions, right? And you increase your chances of getting what you want. Now we're back to the debate, and we're discussing our opinion, and so you express your opinion, and then you allow the other person to express their opinion. Now, listen, both sides, listen to that opinion so that you understand the perspective. Now, if you have a rebuttal, the rebuttal should be conducive to settling the difference of opinion. Okay? What we recommend with the Family Wellness Associates out of California is if the difference of opinion that escalated to a debate, that escalated to an argument, that escalated, right before it escalates to the insult phase, which is a level 4, or 3-4, yeah. Okay. Right before you say something that you're going to have to apologize for later, unless you're really, really good at apologizing, we suggest that you call a code word, which is an agreed-upon word that calls for a timeout. Both individuals of the couple go to their separate corners for a specific amount of time, whatever it's agreed upon prior, like 10 minutes, we stay away from each other, 50 minutes, or however long it takes you to cool down, and do a relaxation exercise, and I discussed several relaxation exercises before, and tapping or emotional freedom technique is one of the best. But I do have my own personal relaxation technique that I've discussed before. Calm yourself down, get yourself to where you're breathing easily, and think about coming back to the discussion about how you're going to resolve it. Okay? After the prescribed amount of time, you come back and try to resolve the situation. If it escalates again, before you get to stage 4, either call a timeout again or suggest that you postpone it and discuss it at a later date, and then let it go. And if you decide to meet at a later date, the thing will be done Friday night at some deleterious restaurant like McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. You meet there, then you discuss the issue. Probably by that time, you're going to forget what the heck y'all were arguing about, because it's usually that minor. Now, that is a code word, and it is according to the research of the Family Wellness Associates out of California, the most effective way of conflict resolution. Now, you're going to argue. I mean, you're going to have different opinions. You're going to have debate. And if you're going to be together with somebody else, it's just a fact of relationships. Now, I've watched videos and listened to the interviews and read stories about these couples that have been together, 40, 50, 60 years, and, they're asked by somebody, hey, how did y'all stay together so long? Usually the answer is, well, we never argued. We never, ever argued. Not once did we ever argue. And I call baloney. Of course, these couples were raised in a different world, and as I mentioned before, the guys, we think we're so good because we walk out on a potential argument. After a while, the woman just stopped even bringing up a difference of opinion because he's not going to listen anyway. He's going to end up, walking out and having a smoke or having a beer with the boys or something. So they end up being dysfunctional. And because they lasted so long, maybe even sleeping in separate rooms, or completely being outside of each other's worlds, but they stayed legally married, they think they've accomplished something. But it's a hollow victory. As I mentioned once before, when I went back to college at the age of 43, there was invariably an older person in the class, and typically that person was a woman in her 60s or 70s, sometimes older. Whenever I would approach them and ask them, why they were in college, they'd say, I've always wanted a college degree. And then I asked them, well, why didn't you go to college when you were younger? And their answer was always, well, I was married, and the place is with her husband or in a home. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I get it. Okay, I understand. People, of that time believed that way. And so I said, well, why are you going to college now? And they always answered, well, oh, he died. Sometimes I get a little description there, or I get an adjective, or is it an adverb? I don't know. They'll say, well, he finally died. And if you're with your partner right now, look at each other, and I'll ask you this question, a rhetorical question. Do you want your partner to wait until you die before your partner fulfills their dream? Because I know relationships are selfish. Relationships are all about us. This is why we're in a relationship. We're not in a relationship because we want to make somebody happy. We're in a relationship because we want to be happy. Okay, and expressing our opinion is part of being happy, or part of reaching our happiness, right? And if we have, my favorite example in the workshop is, have a couple close their eyes and imagine the perfect mate for them. Picture in your mind the perfect mate, and then I allow them to open their eyes and look at at the person they're sitting with, and I explain to them that the person you're with right now is far from the perfect person that you pictured in your mind. Because if you're being serious about it, the perfect mate for you should be you in the opposite sex, or the same sex, if that's how you swing. But the point is, we all think we are the best person we can be, and it stands to reason that if we want the perfect mate, we are our own perfect mate, right? And I'll guarantee you that if you were living with yourself, one of you will kill the other within a week. And if we have an inability to get along with ourselves, how in the hell are we ever going to get along with somebody else, especially without any training whatsoever? Okay, so tonight this is a tool that I have offered to you guys, a tool of the calling a code word, in which you and your couple agree that once this code word is called, you both go to your separate corners for a agreed upon a number of times and perform an effective relaxation technique, whether it be breathing, yoga, or EFT, or emotional freedom technique, which I recommend. If you all have YouTube, look up EFT, it's excellent. And then come back and resolve the situation. Okay, usually, as I say this, generally speaking, usually a difference of opinion is more about an acknowledgement of opinion, or an acknowledgement of feelings, or an acknowledgement of a partner's right to have those opinions and those feelings, more so than it is about the actual physical difference of opinion that we're discussing. It's hardly about whether the toilet seat should be up or down, and more about he or she values my opinion enough to change their behavior for my sake. So keep that in mind every time you have an argument. Okay? Now, I have been Jose Manuel Gonzalez, and the opinions I have expressed tonight and always are my own, based on my experiences and my lifetime association, and so on and so forth, and hard to be on Vincent or...
Blame it on me. I don't care. You can blame it on me if you want to. And remember, Jose says it like the horse, from the horse's mouth, from Jose. Of course. Hey, I've been slamming. I'm doing a super slam for Double Cross Radio coming up right about here in just a minute or two. Thanks again, Jose. You're awesome, brother.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So I will. I'll rock out, and bam, there it goes right now. Hey, love and peace, y'all. We're gone. This is Jaja Radioactive. That's what we are right here on UCY. The USA is crumbling. Y'all sit back. All right, harmonic, y'all. Stay tuned. Double cross. Right. CPS is coming to snatch your babies. These confiscations, the conversations that operating within the zones we trade in. We're in the matrix, now we're totally raided. They infiltrated, finally the devil gave in. If you can't hear me, then pump up the volume. McDonald, Bin Laden, Osama, Obama, bring up something real. Legalize marijuana. Everything on a bong hit is as blunt as Madonna. Radioactive, intergalactic, counterattacking.